I'm going to talk to you about purpose right now. I define purpose as that invisible magnetic field that holds an organization together in a very subtle web of inclusion. At IIMK, we have looked at two aspects of our purpose. One is to globalize Indian thought, and the second is to create value for many, even as we create value for money. The Western paradigm, the Ivy League schools are looking at value for money. Obviously, that's the calling of the schools. But here in India, our context is very different. So value for many becomes a very preeminent purposive intent. Now, how does purpose help us achieve our goals and targets? If you look at pursuit of purpose, then you will see automatically your chances of realizing your own ambitions dramatically improve. Why is that so? Because purpose gives you broader, larger energy for your mind and your heart to work. Human being by definition is illimitable. If you can limit the illimitable, you could do that, but you really can't look at human beings need to express as the primary driver, not human beings need to execute. Execution is a very small aspect of expression. So if I ask my faculty, if I ask my student to execute in a very specific, narrow sort of way, they'll be bored in no time, because there are different ways of executing. There are different ways of delivering the same lecture. There are different ways of cutting an apple or a pineapple. So if you look at execution, it's a very narrow field. But if you look at expression, which is broader, then if you allow the human being to express himself or herself in the broadest range and way possible, then it does seem to me that execution would be creative, and that's the realm of purpose. There is a body of research that tells us that companies that were studied for a period of 7 to 80 years, companies that pursued purpose as opposed to maximizing shareholder returns for the market, outperformed the market 1:15, as opposed to those who wanted to maximize profit. They did about 1:3, so 5 times purpose generated greater value than people who just wanted to make money. Making money can be an end product. In the context of a business school, I can tell you that globalizing Indian thought has been our purpose. If we looked at Indian thought as the primary driver of value creation, then as India grows bigger in the world space, in the global space, our thought systems that delivers the value, they can reach the global space. Where else in the world can you have a heart surgery for less than $1,000? Where else in the world will you have a computer for $25? Where else in the world will you have a shampoo sachet that sells for 2 cents? Now, it is very critical, therefore, that this whole notion of what value creation is reinvented in the way that Indians think, Indians have thought in the past, and it's very critical for us. I'm going to conclude this with the example of a mountain climber who was third in line to go to Mount Everest, the very peak that Tenzing Norgay and Edmund Hillary climbed. And you know what he said when he was asked why he did not complete the climb? He said, see, it was not important who got there first. It was important that someone got there. And the fact that we did not make much of a difference. Finally, an aspiration got created and many more went to Mount Everest thereafter. And that's the difference between personal ambition and purpose. Organizations are not big enough. Organizations are not equipped enough to support unbridled ambition. So if you have an ambition that cuts against the organizational purpose, then that ambition will be thwarted, and rightly so, by the organization. So you have to look at purpose as something much bigger, much broader, much more productive in its by its implication and by its actual playing out in action than ambition would be. So we are rallying behind this great purpose of inclusive excellence in the IIMK, and also in terms of globalizing Indian thought, which I just explained to you. Thank you.